of the news. I think I'm mostly ready for one. I've been getting past my vaccine side effects, which I did experience yesterday. Got a little bit tired. Still have some back pain, some like like a little bit of like chills, basically, but nothing too terrible. And thank you to everyone. And there were many of you who sent me the J&J update. We're going to be talking about that on the show, but I do appreciate you sending that. For those of you who are already here, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Rob says, you can't see the shadowy figure like we can because it's digital. This one curses you with faulty algorithms so no one will ever see you again. You shall come to know it as we have, the shadow ban. See, that's funny. And also kind of true. It's too true, actually, Rob. You're supposed to joke about stuff that's fake. Anyway, thank you for being here. We've got a treat for you. You know who hasn't been on the show in a while? Dan Evans. But he's going to be on the show, god damn it, in like 45 minutes. He's going to be joining us once again. Dan Evans, who has joined over the past year a couple times as a guest. At one point, many years past, he was a producer on The Damage Report, and is now off doing his own thing with his own shows. We'll, of course, be telling you about those. And we'll be talking about updates on the Wright tragedy. Let's see, we've got conservative empathy. How does it work? Spoiler alert, it doesn't, but we're going to be talking about it. Nikki Haley's little flip-flop, that's fun. The future of the war in Afghanistan. We've got a lot that we're going to be talking about, and that's on the full show. Before we even get to that, we've got a bunch of stories. So many that I don't have time to go all the way through some of them. Matt Gaetz is tied to some ghost candidates. It's this thing where you run a candidate who's not really trying to win to take away votes because you believe their presence in an election will manipulate so the person you actually want to win has a better chance. They apparently did that with state Senate races, a number of candidates that Matt Gaetz was connected to. Honestly, Matt Gaetz has got bigger issues right now that we will be talking about in a little bit, so I'm not too invested in that. It is a problem, though. There's certainly a lot of things like that. It's not just in state legislative races. It's ridiculous that it can happen. It's also difficult to get rid of. But what we can hopefully do is be cognizant of when a candidate runs, what possible effect on the election does a candidate have? Do they appear to be running to actually win? That is not always the case. And them simply running doesn't necessarily increase the odds that they win, but it might influence the odds that someone else wins. So let's just always be aware of that, and maybe we can avoid a little bit of what Matt Gaetz is apparently tied to in Florida. So all of that's fun. You know what? A little bit of good news. And look, this is on its face good news. It probably behind the scenes isn't as good as it seems, but in the wake of the Capitol riot, you might remember that there was supposed to be this ridiculous sovereign citizen thing like a month or two later where they're all going to meet in D.C. and Trump was going to become president again, and it didn't really amount to anything. And in fact, versions of it at state capitals also didn't really amount to much. It turns out that a couple days ago there were supposed to be these nationwide White Lives Matter rallies. It had more counter-protesters at them in general than the actual protesters. And while you do have some people from militias and the Proud Boys and stuff like that going, they were wildly outnumbered by counter-protesters. And it turns out this has been a kind of a constant since January 6th, that these radical right extremist gatherings are not really doing too well. A lot of people aren't showing up to them. And I think that there's potentially quite a few explanations for that. I think that, despite Fox News's attempt to rewrite what happened after the election in those couple of months, and especially what happened on the 6th, I think that people got that that was bad. I think that if you caught a little bit of the footage, it's going to take more than a little blank face from Tucker Carlson to convince you that that's not scary, that's not a bad thing for the country. So maybe it's caused some of them to back off. A lot of them, I think, are worried about being caught, since so many of those who broke the law on the 6th were caught. They don't want to. There's a lot of infighting. Like the factions are breaking apart in many of these. There are some who are cooperating with law enforcement, so there's a lot of fear, I think. That said, the people aren't necessarily gone. They haven't necessarily become more reasonable or more tolerant. They're still out there, which is why I can't count this as 100% good news. Carl? Carl? I'm taking care of Carl, the dog, and I hear some noise. Carl? Yeah, buddy? Okay, I think I hear him now. I don't want him getting anything. Carl! Come on, buddy. Want to jump up? Want to jump up? Come on. Yes. Okay. Hey, here's Carl. We've got a dog on the stream. Hey, Carl, are you a news dog? Oh, you can jump down. Carl's running around and having fun. He's got a ball that he's running around with. Zane says, woohoo, Dan Evans. I feel the same exact way when Dan is on the show. It's always a woohoo moment. Okay. No Wi-Fi from the J&J yet, but also no blood clots, so I'll consider that a good thing. Hey, Zane. DDM Star says, good morning, Dragon Squad and Dragon Daddy. Hope you're feeling a little better today after the vax. I am feeling a little bit better. I don't feel amazing, but I'm not sure that's actually why. Wyman says, I just got my J&J vaccine yesterday, and so far I feel fine. No noticeable side effects. Love your show, Dragon Daddy. Thank you. I will say that my side effects did take a while to come on. So I got the vaccine at around 3:15, and the next day around 11 to 1 is when the back pain started. It took quite a while, actually. The Dayman says that he canceled my J&J 3 days ago after recall articles, and now I have a Moderna scheduled for 1:30 today. I'm sure yours was fine, though. That's totally fine. I mean, I think that they are being way too careful, but that said, if you have the choice between multiples, feel free. Janet says, John, can I beat Gem Star Dragon? It's using my initials with Star. I love it, and you can. I'm not going to stand between you and that name. Rob Shively says, give us the pupper, you coward. I showed you the pupper. The pupper wanted to run free, though, and I'm not going to chain the pupper to me. Chuck Useki says, total recall. It's hard to recall him over to me. Wayne, how's it going? Wayne says, John, I started a rumor that you won the Democratic Congressional Subcommittee Minority Caucus Award for smartiness. Okay, well, you know, it's nice to win the award, but I'm really in it for the bowl. Sarah Connor says, Carl will protect you from the ghost lady. So, but here's the thing. What if, like, Carl goes to a corner and he's just, like, looking up at nothing for a while and occasionally barking? John Jackson says, love the dog. I hope that you feel good today. You too. Teresa, thank you. Okay, everybody, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's see if we can soar past 1,000. Let's see. What should we talk about? Oh, here's something that's fun. So Mike Lindell, you know, a guy who's had a troubled past and a pillowy present, he's this, like, figure on the right now. And so what does the right care about? Well, I know what you're going to say. Probably, like, stopping black and brown people from voting. Sure, that's true. But also free speech, supposedly. So they want social media sites where you can say whatever you want. You won't be canceled. It's free speech. And this pillow man has got it. He says, it's frankspeech.com. He says, I have my own servers and everything. We're not going to be worried about Amazon taking it down or YouTube or Google or Apple. And we're going to get our voice of free speech out there. All the cancels of our First Amendment rights, the cancels we're seeing right now, well, guess what? It's coming back. You're not going to have to worry about what you're saying and worry about being able to speak out freely. Now, immediately after that, he starts telling you all the things you can't say. So we went back to our founding fathers and stuff to find out what defines free speech. You don't get to use the 4 swear words, you know, the C word, the N word, the F word, or God's name in vain. Wait, do you mean God damn it? You can't say God damn it? You know, like the founders said. Okay, so free speech, except for the naughty words I don't like. Now look, I don't want you using a lot of those words, but I'm also not someone who defines myself exclusively as the, like, I don't know, sci-fi hybrid of pillow and anti-cancel culture sentiment. But he supposedly does, and yet can't say the C word, the N word, you can't say the F word? Okay, so not only is his site not the free speech, like, last citadel that he presents it as, it is more restrictive than the vast majority of places. You can use the F word in a lot of places, unless he's not, if he doesn't mean fuck. But I have a feeling he is probably fine with homophobia, so I'm going to assume he means fuck there, and you can't say it. Okay, so what happens if you say it? Do you get banned? Do you get canceled if you say it? But it's not just language. It's not just arbitrary, he doesn't like these words. And it's also, free speech is not pornography. Okay, so porn's out because founders, I don't know. Free speech isn't, I'm going to kill you. And here's the thing, obviously, I agree with that. I don't think that you have some sort of absolute free speech right to threaten people with violence. Because free speech, especially when it doesn't have to do with the government again, which is like 99% of the time that people talk about free speech, it has literally nothing to do with the actual constitutional protections of the First Amendment. But even if we're using the loosey-goosey interpretation that people use, like, yes, there should be reasonable restrictions. And that is reasonable. And you know who gets to decide that on frankspeech.com? The Pillow Man, apparently, because supposedly it's his place. He gets to decide on his private servers, just like Twitter and Facebook and all of that. And we can try to put pressure on them, to change in a particular way, but they get to decide. So he understands that principle with his domain, but not with the others. So you should be able to spread election misinformation on Twitter, but you can't say fuck on frankspeech.com. You should be able to lie about the vaccine on Facebook, but you can't say cunt on, I don't know, MySpace or his, I don't remember where the analogy is going here. Yes, you get to make restrictions, okay? Because one thing, you don't want to open your site up to legal liability, which all of the violence and all of that potentially adds. But in terms of if you don't like certain words, you get to make a place for people to talk. In my chat, you can't just say any random word you want because I don't want a toxic environment. I get to decide that within my area of YouTube, and they get to decide in general on YouTube. It is exactly what he is doing, but they cannot understand these principles, and it is highly frustrating. I apologize. I'm running behind. CS says, got my J&J shot Friday. No side effects. Feeling great. Have a great day, Dragon. Smash the like button, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. Levels says, Mondays with you and Francesca are really special. Seth Meyers and John Oliver last night tonight was special together. Blaming right running and believing cop-made accident was special from Jank. Okay, I didn't see that, so I actually didn't see any of those things in the reference, but I appreciate the super chat. Kenny from Philly says, show pets again since everyone will soon be back in studio. Hey, Carl. Carl, come here. Jump up. We want to see you. We want to see your cute face. Okay, Carl. Hey, Carl. Hey, Carl. Hey, Carl. This is Carl. Carl's a good dog. Oh, yes, Carl. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. But I don't think he wants to be in my lap. Okay. He's a good dog. I'm taking care of him for a week. Let's see. Kay says, can I be cheek clapper dragon? Jesus. You can. Don't make me say it again. Peter Grudge says, hey, John, during a power outage last night, I was talking to my cousin who's transgender. I came out to her that I'm bisexual. We talked for 5 hours on the phone. I'm so happy, and Carl is cute. That is awesome all around. Glad to hear that. Thank you, Peter. The real Jamal says, Matt Gaetz is a Carl! I know. Well, that's my version of squirrel, except it's a dog. Lamine says, I am legitimately wondering if Mike Lindell is back on crack. Also, there are way more than 4 swear words. No, but you can say the other ones because he has arbitrarily decided that some are okay and some are not. The W word. I don't even know which one that is. The T word? Maria Jose Flores, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate that. Juan says, hey, Carl is just staring at that coat rack, man. Stay on your toes. Stop it with the ghosts. Elizabeth, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership. Welcome, both of you. Big B says, hey, was wondering if you guys had any thoughts on what is happening in Mozambique. I'm actually not familiar with what's happening with Mozambique. We are probably going to be doing a Meanwhile In this week, though, so feel free to send the story to me, and I would love to look into it. Chuck Rosecki says, why did the saxophone player get canceled? He got caught watching pornography online at home. See, that's the sort of joke that's not allowed on frankspeech.com. Dankar says, Carl needs a little sheriff's hat. That would be adorable. Carl's laying down by the camera. He's a good dog. Big B, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership. Zane says, I'm wearing my We Press On hoodie to Johnny Pie. Nice. We match. Okay, so let's see. What do we have? Oh, a little bit of garbage. So, right-wing comedy, does it exist? Well, the example of Gutfeld implies that it can't and it shouldn't, but sometimes they do get a laugh. Let's see. During Trump's RNC speech, so he was at this event at Mar-a-Lago, he said, he was talking about the election being stolen or whatever, and he said, Barack Hussein Obama and the very beautiful Michelle Obama were there for, at which point the audience began laughing like that's the funniest effing thing that they've ever heard in their life. Like I did the one time I saw Dave Chappelle in person, or when I was really high and I watched the SNL Gus Chiggins sketch. They thought him saying the very beautiful Michelle Obama is the funniest thing that they've ever heard. Now, of course, it's not even true. She didn't even go to Georgia to campaign, but they think that's hilarious. So I simultaneously don't get it and get it. I don't get it because what's wrong with Michelle Obama's appearance? And then I do get it because, well, come on, you know who the crowd is that was laughing at that. You know what they're motivated by. And that's hilarious. So he got an award for being like super honorable and all that. Former president, his go-to laugh line is, the former first lady's ugly. These are bad people. These are bad people. So meanwhile, I feel bad mocking anyone other than Ted Cruz's appearance. But they don't. They love it. They think it's the best thing ever. Weird world. Trump also has a new excuse for why Congress can't see his tax returns, saying that a new law in New York that allowed Congress to ask for his state tax returns no longer applies because he isn't president anymore. So they pass it because he, as president, was doing all this stuff to avoid them being able to get his taxes. So they pass a special law so that they can. He holds out until he's not president anymore, and he says, hey, there you go, now this doesn't apply to me either. Which seems like a temporary at best solution, but also reminds me of the Mitch McConnell gambit, which was, well, after the 6th, I mean, we can't, like, impeach the president because, like, it's a rush, and you really have to take time to think about it. Oh, he's not president anymore, so we can't do it. Isn't that amazing? Look at the loopholes I've found to not have to ever do anything. Bad people. Just bad people. What are you hiding? I really don't, I barely even care anymore about what's in there. I'm assuming crimes. I'm assuming crimes are in there. But I have no faith that he's ever going to go to jail for any of them. And it's been so long that, like, I don't know, let me know. How invested, scale of 1 to 10, are you in what's in his taxes? The most fascinating thing to me about his taxes is how scared he is of them getting out. I do not think that anything could be in them that would, like, feel satisfying, considering how long and drawn out this is, how many defenses he has crafted to make sure that we never see it. He makes it seem as if it's like he's done something unforgivable, something that that no human could abide. He'd have to, for all of the effort he's put into not letting it ever get out. But it's not going to be that good. It's going to be that he stole money, basically. That it was insurance fraud. That's what it's going to be. And maybe we'll never even see it. Phyllis K says, for Carl, thank you. Carl brings in the bucks. The Dayman says, haven't seen much leftist news about the founder of BLM. Plenty of right-wing stories. Interested on your take, John, or if TYT will cover it later. I'm not actually familiar with that. I would have to look into it. Okay. Again, I'm as little interested in mocking of the former First Lady as looks in my chat as I am from Trump. So just bear that in mind if you want to be able to continue to talk in here. I will be at least as restrictive of this room as Mike Lindell is of frankspeech.com. Post says, welcome, Carl. Carl. They love you, Carl. Sea Salt Chip says, John, YouTube keeps recommending your old videos to me. I enjoyed insert witty show name here with John Arroyo. Oh my God, that was from a very long time ago. Rob says, John started the show not believing ghosts, but I think we can break him. Yeah, we'll see about that. Lee says, RE police stop of Lieutenant Nazario, missing license plate I, a white woman stops for expired license, received warning, not gun in the face, erg. Yeah, it's weird how that works out. I've been pulled over. I've never been asked to get out of the car or anything like that. Nothing crazy ever happened when I got pulled over for normal traffic-y stuff. Okay, one last story because I am assuming that we don't have much time. So, just a quick little update to something that we talked about yesterday, which is Matt Gaetz swears that Trump hasn't thrown him under a bus, that he hasn't left him out to dry. Insert whatever analogy you want. And the Trump team wants to say, no, like, we haven't abandoned him at all. And that's it. Please don't ask any follow-ups. So there was a report about him wanting a meeting with Trump, which he says is a lie. And I'll read his tweet in a sec. In the same way that he said the blanket pardon was a lie, all of it's a lie. He says, this is a total lie. I am on a pre-planned vacation with my fiance. Dude, you can't just use the word fiance over and over to get you past the child sex trafficking thing. Like, him and Harlan Hill just love talking about his fiance. By the way, that's not like just from me. I have a feeling she would be happy if you would stop talking about her, because she's probably dealing with some tough stuff right now with the idea that you've been fucking multiple prostitutes and also possibly trafficking children. So maybe just give her a little bit of a buffer. He says, I was welcomed at Trump Doral days ago. No such meeting was denied nor sought. Gabby, unnamed sources lied. When can we expect a retraction? That's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. And you guys are known liars, so why would we trust you? Jason Miller, rep for Trump, said, this CNN story is complete fake news. No such scheduling or meeting request was ever made, and therefore it could never have been declined. Take note that this story has 0 on the record sources. It's literally made up. No, that's not at all true. We are demanding a full retraction. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, this is more of what we talked about on the show yesterday, which is these guys are like being so careful, like, no, we like still love each other, dude, just, in a way that like I didn't even bother trying to talk to him. Like, I could have, and if I did, maybe I would have gotten it, but like I didn't even try to see him when I went to his place, and like I haven't even tried to call him, and they're like, the Trump people are like, no, like, we didn't deny any meeting. He didn't even ask for one. I mean, sure, this is 2 weeks that are the worst weeks of his political career, and we're spending our time putting out these very vague, carefully worded statements about like, oh, like he denies it. We're not saying that we stand with him. We're not saying that it's totally untrue. We're not, by the way, fucking meeting with him, which if you want to deny like these reports that you won't meet with him, I know a way to do that. Meet with him. You, instead of having Jason Miller and Matt Gaetz do the statement, why don't Trump and Gaetz sit with each other and do a video, maybe like an Instagram Live? That would be one way to show that you're still cool with each other. Or Trump could put out a long, rambling, insane thing about how Matt Gaetz is totally innocent and this is all untrue and I stand with him till the end of days. You'll notice they're not doing that. It's all, no, these reports from multiple sources aren't true. That is all. We will have nothing more to say about this. Tweet him, Jason Miller. Tweet Matt Gaetz. You'll know Matt Gaetz's name doesn't appear in that. He's not added. In Matt Gaetz's thing, like, it's all really zoomed out and vague. And does it matter? No, it really doesn't. But they're being so weird about it. So weird. Both of them, like, want to be able... Here's the strategy. If we get past this, we can be friends again. So let's do what is necessary to set up an eventual friendship again, but not do anything where if you do go down, Trump gets hurt by that. That's all this is. That's all this is. That is what is motivating Jason Miller, and Matt Gaetz either is semi-wily enough to understand that he needs to do that, or more likely has talked to Trump and his aides enough to know, dude, don't fucking put our name in your mouth. Just get past this, and if you somehow, by hook or by crook, do, then you'll be in again. That is all that is happening here. Because it is way simpler to just have them meet. Have them talk. Have them both call into the same show, whatever. If you really wanted to demonstrate how close you both still are. Until then, cut the bullshit, honestly. Anywho, Brandy Rubel says, glad Dragon Daddy John got his first dose of vax. Sad I missed live yesterday. Happy third month as Dragon. Thank you, Brandy. Glad that we've had you for 3 months as well. Okay, everybody. Well, I gotta go get ready for... Yes, Marco, I know. I gotta prep the show. I gotta get ready for Dan. Haven't seen him in a long time. I want to take Carl for a little walk before the show. So thank you, everybody. We're gonna be either... You can keep watching here, or you can go to twitch.tv/TYT. We're gonna have a full show for you. Lots to talk about after this.